Good morning, Baycroft. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hope we're all feeling good out there today. Well, it's day 2 of Baycroft TV, and I'd like to thank you all for tuning in and, more importantly, for joining in. We're already receiving lots of emails with some lovely suggestions, so thank you very much for that. Remember, it's this email address, and this is to be used if you want to tell us about something that you've been up to and for us to possibly share that on this channel. So if you do send us something, please make sure that it's sent from a parent or carer's email address and ask them to tell us if they're happy for us to share. We will of course only be using first names, and remember, no faces in photos, please. One feature that has already been suggested, which I think is very, very lovely, would be for us to celebrate any students' birthdays. Now, I do have a list of all of your birthdays, but I don't want to embarrass anyone who doesn't want to be mentioned. So I'm going to leave it to you. If you have a birthday coming up and you want us to share it, please email us, let us know in advance, no good on the day, and we can then celebrate that with you. Okay, as you can see, I'm looking much smarter today. That's because I've literally just walked back in from a really important schools meeting and sat straight down in front of the camera. So hopefully you like the smart new me rather than the scruffy version that you would have seen yesterday. So today is Tuesday the 31st of March, and on this day in history, the Eiffel Tower opened in Paris. Paris being the capital city of France, which is over there somewhere. Okay, it was at that time the world's tallest man-made structure at 1,024 feet tall. I myself am not too far off of 6 feet, which we will be able to see. If I stand up, it means that it would take 170 of me to be as tall as the Eiffel Tower, and that got me thinking about a challenge for you all. I would like you to go away and investigate, firstly, the tallest structure in Hampshire, secondly, the tallest structure in the UK, thirdly, the tallest structure in Europe, and fourthly, the tallest structure in the world. Not only that, but I would also like you, if you're lucky enough to be able to do this, and also remembering all of the social distancing protocol, which is so important at the moment, I would like you to go and measure one pace and then walk to see how far you would have to go to reach the top of the tallest building in the world. Not only that, but if you really think you're hard enough, I would like you to get together with all of your family, kids, parents and carers, brothers, sisters, dogs, fish, all of you, and work out your combined height, which means work out, if you were standing all on each other's shoulders, how tall you would be. Now, the big question, how many times would you all have to stand on top of each other's shoulders to reach the top of the world's tallest building? We would like to see all of your research and your answers. Not only that, but it's also the basis of this week's quiz competition. The best answer that we receive will win a prize. I'll make sure that not only does your house team receive a few counters from Miss Povey, but I'll also arrange for you to receive yourself a £15 Amazon gift voucher. So get working, send in the best work you possibly can, and we will celebrate that on this channel. Okay? Anyway, that's probably enough from me for the moment. So let's get on with the rest of today's broadcast. Enjoy it, and I'll see you all again at the end. Okay?
Good morning, my lovelies. I have missed you so much and hope that you've missed me as much as I've missed you. Goeiemorgen, guten Tag, Sawubona, bonjour, buenos dias, goedemorgen. Now, you don't have to learn all these languages to be able to talk to one another or just for homeschooling. But what I'm trying to tell you today is that we have one common language, and that is if we smile, we can all use the same language. So today, my message is that we should all try to smile and be kind to one another. You are special. You are leaders. you are dreamers, you are creative, you are thinkers, you are respected, you are a friend, and you are loved. And you are the reason that we are here for you. So I just wanted to say that I have to go now and obviously brush my teeth so that I can have a wonderful smile to greet you again when we homeschool tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Hi guys, Mr Ryan-Heaney here. Hope you're all doing well and are positive and healthy. The exercise we're going to be doing today is something called a tricep dips. Triceps are muscles in the back of our arm. We've got our biceps at the front and our triceps at the back. What you're going to do is you're going to sit on a chair anywhere in your house. You're going to put your hands on the edge and take a little shuffle forward so your bum's off the edge of the seat. Now we're going to go down and back up without touching the floor, okay? So it's going to go like this. Go down, back up. Down, back up. And you're going to do that about 10 times. Then have a rest, and then you can do a couple more sets if you'd like afterwards. That's all from me. See you again tomorrow.
Good morning. So for today's On This Day in History lesson, we are going back 299 years to 1721, and that's because on this day in 1721 Sir Isaac Newton died. Now, some of you already know that Sir Isaac Newton was a really important scientist. He was so important that even 299 years since he died, we still study his work and look at what he discovered today. Albert Einstein said he was one of the smartest people to ever live, so you know he must have been pretty smart. The theories that Newton developed were interestingly developed when he was in self-isolation because of the plague. So in 1665 he had to stop working at Cambridge University and start working from home, and this is when he developed his theory of gravity, and it's his most famous theory that we all know about and we all study about when we are at school. And most people have heard of gravity, and most people think that Newton discovered gravity because an apple fell on his head, and this is not necessarily true. He came up with this story when he was at a dinner party and someone asked him how he discovered gravity, and people are not sure to this day as to whether he made it up on the spot or if it was actually the truth. But what is gravity? So gravity is a force that pulls things to the ground on Earth and on other planets. It's also the thing that keeps all the planets in orbit around the sun, because the sun is at the centre of the universe and all the planets orbit around the sun at a certain distance. And because of gravity, we are at this place in orbit from the sun that's not too close to the sun so we don't get too hot, and it's not too far away from the sun so that we don't get too cold, and that therefore without gravity we wouldn't have life on Earth as we know it. If we didn't have gravity on Earth, we'd also not be able to have our houses, wouldn't be able to walk or run or play because we'd be floating around. And this is why gravity is so important. But gravity also exists on other planets, like I've said, and it also exists on the moon. However, the gravity on the moon is much less than the gravity that is on Earth, which is why people say you can weigh less on the moon, because there's less gravity acting on people or objects on the moon than there is on Earth. So what I want you to do is a gravity challenge, and for your gravity challenge I would like you to defy gravity, and all you're going to need to defy gravity is a piece of paper, because I know how much everyone likes to make a paper airplane. What I want you to do is make and test the best paper airplane that you can using materials that you have in your house. So it doesn't have to be a plain piece of paper, it can be a bit of scrap paper, it can be something from a newspaper, anything that you've got in your house. I'd like you to make a paper airplane with and test it. And the way you're going to test it is by seeing how far you can throw your paper airplane. Now, you can measure it using a tape measure, or you can measure it using your footsteps. I want to know what you used, maybe a picture of your airplane sent to the email address that we give you with the video, and how far it went. And we're going to see what type of airplane goes the furthest. So I want to see your best work making the airplanes. and defying gravity. Thanks.
This week in 1980 saw the death of one of the most famous and inspirational athletes of all time. His name was Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens was born in 1913 in the deep south of America, so about here, and he was born at a time when black people were treated absolutely appallingly as a result of racism. He was the star of the American athletic team. In fact, in 1935, in a period of just 45 minutes, so less than an hour, he broke 3 world records and tied another. Having achieved such an amazing feat, he wouldn't have been able to go out and celebrate with the rest of the athletics team because black people and white people were not allowed to eat in the same restaurants or stay in the same hotels. Jesse's probably most famous for the 1936 Olympics. The 1936 Olympics took place in Berlin, which is in Germany. Germany at that time was in the control of the Nazi Party led by Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler very famously believed in Aryan supremacy. Aryan supremacy being the belief that white people are better than black people in every way. Jesse went to the Olympics and he proved what a ridiculous and appalling belief system that was, and he proved it in probably the best way he possibly could. He went and in front of Adolf Hitler, he won 4 gold medals. That was a world record, and it was a world record that stood for nearly 50 years. So Jesse was a truly amazing and inspiring man. Which got me thinking about other truly amazing and inspiring men. And like me, you're probably already thinking of Mr Ryan-Heaney. Well, we decided to see how Mr Ryan-Heaney would have fared against Jesse Owens. So let's have a look.
Hey there! As we found out, Jesse Owens won 4 gold medals in the 1936 Berlin Olympics. That's pretty impressive considering at that time he was doing it in lots of different disciplines. Now, he ran the 100 metres in 10.3 seconds. Even though that record has been broken since and lots of improvements have been made, these improvements are in the field of science as well as just fast runners. For example, have a look at the shoes I'm wearing now. These shoes are made for quick running in a straight line. Back then, they just had the shoes that they wore. Now, we've got a track here, but it doesn't look like much of a running track, does it? What we're going to do is we're going to transform this. Right, click my fingers. So, we've got our start line, but now we need to have our finish. I've got another one of these ropes, but you can just use cones or anything that you've got in the house and try and find some space to measure 10 metres. There are a couple of ways which we can do this. Firstly, you could use a tape measure. Now this one that I've got here isn't very long, so you might need to have a bigger one or get a bit creative. What we do in maths is we can use estimates. So I'm going to measure mine using an estimate of a yard or metre per step that I do. So if you follow me, come on, don't be shy. I'm going to start on my start line. I'm going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, I can tell roughly that's going to be 10 metres. So, I've now got my 10 metre track. As I mentioned earlier, Jesse Owens ran this in 10.3 seconds. So, we're only running 10 metres. So what we've got to do is divide by 10. 100 divided by 10, as we know using our place value, gets us 10. So 10.3 divided by 10. I'm going to leave for you guys to work out what his time is. I'm sure Mr Kiff might pop the answer up later in the video. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set myself up and get ready. Make sure you have someone to time yours, see how fast you can go, and I want you to see if you can beat me. Let's set up. But one more thing, I'm missing something. if I'm representing Jesse Owens here, I've got to look the part. I'm going to go set up ready. I've got my father behind the camera who's going to instruct me with starters orders. Let's see how fast I can run this.
On your mark, get set, go! Now,
Whew, hard work. So, I've just run that in a 1.8 seconds. What I want you guys to try and do now is beat it.
Hello and welcome to Baycroft School and our home learning YouTube channel. I'm Mr West. Hope you are all safe and keeping well. Today I'm going to just go through a short geography quiz. Geography quiz is actually guess the country. So you need to look at the pictures that are going to come up. For each picture you say what it is, say it out loud, put them all together, and it will sound out the name of a country, a nation or a place. The example I've given is cat and R, put them together, say it out loud, and you get Qatar. So remember, say what you see. So in this picture here we have two whales, which would be representing the nation of Wales. So it is simple, just say what you see. And in this case, we're representing the country of Chile. This one here is a bird which often served Thanksgiving or Christmas time. And it represents the country of Turkey. So as we had in the demonstration earlier, we have the cat and the R. You'd say them together to make R. So continuing the theme of forming multiple pictures or letters, we have the letter U and a picture of a crane to make crane. So this one here, you need to be thinking about what is the three-dimensional shape that shows and the noise that a sheep makes. Shape is a cube and the sound a sheep makes is bar. So put them together to get cuba. Continuing on the sheep theme, this time we also have the sound a sheep makes and the pictures representing formal weather. Bar, rain, put together to make Bahrain. This one here we have a piece of clothing which you'd wear to make separate smart, and the number 1. We'd say them out as Taiwan to make Taiwan. Again, say what you see. We have the letter O and the outline of a man. Oman. And the country is Oman. Gets a bit trickier now. Obviously it's a picture of a snake, and this is the only venomous snake which is found in the United Kingdom. We also have an image of a can. We put those together, got can, adder. So we have the country of Canada. And here is one of my least favourite vegetables, and the green thing is a sort of shelter you might build outdoors. So we have a Swede and a den to make Sweden. Thank you for taking part in this quiz.
Yesterday's sign was wash hands. Today's sign is home. Home.
So I think that brings us to the end of today's broadcast. Don't forget that challenge. Remember, if you do send in the best work, then we will make sure that you personally receive a £15 Amazon voucher. Okay? Thank you very much for what. Mr. Mitchell, do you always have to look so miserable? Can't you do something to brighten things up? Okay? Have a good day.